Yeah, I need a fainting couch because I would just swoon to death.
I believe her exact words are, "Why am I wearing so many pants? Why do I have so many pants on right
Welcome to the Incoherent Fangirl.
Where we, but even more particularly I, have absolutely no chill because we're talking to Tracy Wolf in like 20 minutes.
Oh my god.
What is this life? I can't wait to tell her how important Hudson Vega is. Like, look, I've got him on the fictional boyfriends of my heart shirt that I've made.
I
So I
love
didn't
it.
make it. Etsy made it. But
Yes. I am Karin from Kerrigan's Christmas Tree Farm.
that was a mouthful.
It was.
And I'm Mandy of High Wraith Manor.
I really didn't expect it to be that difficult to say.
It's just because your name and then
Yeah, that was hard. I should have
that's a,
practiced that.
that you did great.
Thanks.
You said that like a champ.
In our timeline, it is August 31st, and in y'all's timeline, it's September 8th.
We're in the burrs.
What the hell?
I don't know. I feel like it should be March.
This year just started, but
yeah.
it didn't. This week in fangirling, what'd you do, Mandy?
I didn't do a whole lot. I've been writing a lot.
Good.
So I've been trying to write every night. So I've neglected reading, which is fine. You have to find a balance. And I feel like I've done that. So this week I read 2 books. I didn't read them. I've been reading them. I'm not done. So I have A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. So you have an architecture student and Emrys Mirrodin fangirl, and her name is Effie Sayer. She gets this once in a lifetime opportunity, right? She gets selected to rebuild and design the estate of Emrys Mirrodin. In my I picture Emrys Mirrodin to be kind of our version of like Tolkien.
Oh,
like
okay.
Legendary. Everyone like knows who that is. Everyone's read it. Everyone loves it. He wrote an epic about a mortal girl who falls in love with the fairy king and then she destroys him. And it's like Effie's favorite book. She's obsessed with Emrys Mirrodin. So she's like so pumped that she gets to go design a house for his estate. So she rushes to the library and she's like, I need everything on Emrys Mirrodin. I know I've read it all, but like I have to do it again.
Yeah.
And she is pissed to find out that someone named P. Hillary has checked out all of the books on Emrys Mirrodin. And she's like, so she would much rather be in the literature college, but they don't allow girls in the literature college. So she's like the only girl in the architecture college. So she's like pushed around and picked on and all of that. She's furious about the books being taken, but she has to move on. She gets sent to High Wraith Manor, which is in the bottom 100, which is like the seedy part of the island, I guess. Like it's like the we don't go there area.
It's the bad side of town.
Yeah, it's the bad side of town, but like of a country. So it's like 6 hours from where she is.
Okay.
Where her school is. She arrives to High Wraith Manor and it's like literally crumbling into the sea, like off a cliff. Like she's got to do something and she's got to do something fast.
Yikes.
So I freaking love her. I'm early in still, but she suffers with some like I would say normal mental health problems that everyone deals with. So she has some pills that she takes, some help her sleep, and she says that she used to see things. And if she feels like she's starting to see things that other people would say is not real, she has to take one of her pills and it like calms her down. But she's treated like a crazy woman, half the time. And she feels like she's a disappointment to her parents, and her mother is kind of terrible. Once she's at High Wraith, she meets Preston, who's a literature scholar, and he is also there. He's there to study Mirrodin's papers, and he's trying to prove that Mirrodin was a fraud, that either he didn't write his the book that they said he did or something like that. He's trying to prove that this guy that you hero worship isn't who he says he is. They've just met kind of where I am, so I'm not so far in, but I'm feeling obvious academic rivals to lovers. Dark academia. I'm loving it so far. Another aspect that they have is there are like 2 countries who are kind of not necessarily at war, but it's very tense. Effie is from one of the countries and Preston is from the other. And Effie's country is where this author is from. And so she's like, how dare you? How dare you look into my author? How dare you be in my author's house and trying to disprove and discredit him, and you're from this other country, like you're an outsider, you shouldn't be here. So it has that vibe too, where it's like, is she gonna come past her prejudice? I didn't know. We'll see. And then I've been reading The Moon and Her Son by S. Marie. So this is a local author to me, like literally my town. And it's part of the book club that I'm in. This was our August book. So I'm a
Mhm.
little behind because it's the last day of August for us. But it's a cozy fantasy. You have this guy, Grian, who lives in the realm of the lake. He delivers bread for his dad. His dad's a baker. And he seems kind of like a pretty happy-go-lucky guy. He's got his trusted animal sidekick, Tavi. She's a wolf that he came to have when she was a puppy. Like she wandered into their town and everybody was throwing stuff at her, trying to kill her because it was a wolf. And even his own father was like, I think he was throwing knives at her and he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So they kind of like imprinted on each other in a way. Like
Oh.
that's his girl. She's been by
Yeah.
his side for years. And he's got March, which is a stubborn as fuck stallion that he bought because March is unrideable. Nobody can ride him. So he was like, I can make him a pack animal because the guy was selling him for cheap. So he's like, I'll just, he can carry bread. I can put bags on him and he can carry bread and walk beside me. So one day after he thinks he's making some progress with March, he gets on her back and March is a boy. He gets on March's back and like March runs into the woods and it's the Forbidden Forest. And so Grian is like, oh my God. And Tavi is with them. So they're all three going into the Forbidden Forest where Grian is violently attacked by a wolf.
Oh
Like
no.
he watches his whole wrist get like shredded and he's like, oh, like freaking out. Then he wakes up the next morning in the woods with no Tavi and no March and no injuries.
What?
And he's like, what the heck? And he's laying by this lake or this, like, I think it's like a pond or a lake or something. Yeah. So he's like, what the heck? So he searches around for a little bit trying to find Tavi or March. He finds neither of them. So he goes home and he's like mourning his pets and his companions. A few days later, a raven-haired woman with black, like kind of claw nails and skin so pale it's like she's never seen the sun. Like her skin has never seen the sun, suddenly appears outside of coming outside of the forest with March, the horse. And he's like, what? So the two, huh?
Is
No,
she?
she's
I was like, is she the wolf?
no, I thought that too. No, she's not Tavi, but they become friends because Grian is telling her name is Shariko. He's telling her like I've got to try and ride this horse. He let me once, and she's like really in tune with animals. So she's like, you have to ask him. You have to he has to want to help you. You have to bond with him. He's not just, here for your whatever. So they become friends. They spend a lot of time together. She shows up every day, leaves before the sun goes down. Then you get to Shariko's point of view. She lives in basically a cult with this woman that's called the Mother. She's controlling everything that these people do. They don't use money. Like everyone has a specific job, but everybody can do every job. And so it's like what you'd see in The Walking Dead once they, rebuild. They're only allowed to leave their town to go on hunting duty and only at night. And Shariko and her friend Benrua, I think is how you say it, occasionally they'll wander into the forest, but they're not trying to get caught. She finds March and he leads her to Grian and the realm of the lake, which is outside of any area she's ever been. And she starts to realize that her mother has been lying to all of them when she has said the people out there are bad, the people out there are evil, they're all monsters, and we're the only ones who are safe. I don't want to give away a spoiler, but where I am, something major just happened, and the world as they both know it is about to completely change. It's cozy. It does have it has more adventure than it's cozy, but it's not. There is adventure.
Yeah.
A little bit more than a cozy fantasy, I would say. It's got dual POV, shifters, the lovable animal sidekick, and there is an audiobook and a Kindle book.
Nice.
So The Moon and Her Son by S. Marie. And I'm going to finish it by Sunday because we're actually doing a paint and sip class with the author on Sunday as part of the book club.
How cool is that?
Isn't that so cool?
That's very cool.
The twin sister runs this book club and she made that happen. It's really, really cool. I'm so
love
excited.
that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And that's all I did this week other than write my book and make myself cry writing my book. And I played a little Dreamlight Valley. But mostly I wrote.
Good. At least one of us is.
Hey, somebody's got to, I guess.
Yeah.
What did you do this week?
I have a few books that I read, and I'm going to show you I made little books so I can show you the books. So the first book I read is A Tall Dark Trouble by Vanessa Montalban. I talked about it last week. It's her debut novel, and it follows Delphi and Ophelia. Ophelia goes by Leela in 2016 Miami, and they have been followed by like malicious magic their entire lives. There's like a love curse on on the women in their family, and they've been trying to like suppress their own magic because that's just what their mom was like. We can't have anything to do with magic because it has been like the bad stuff has been following them. So she's trying to protect them. But now they're starting to get like visions of people being murdered, and they're like, okay, we can't ignore this anymore because we have
Yeah.
to help these people.
Yeah.
So they pair up with their best friend Ethan and Delphi's ex, who is also like a detective in training, Andres, and they're trying to figure out what's going on and see if they can help these people. And Delphi and Leela kind of grow into their power and all of that. And then it's a dual timeline. So then the other timeline follows Anita in 1980 Cuba. And Anita is she's not part of yet, but she is the daughter of like this secret magical cult. So her mom is like the leader. And
Yeah.
Anita is like, I'm not about this life. Like, y'all are being really bad to people and doing terrible things. And she's trying to escape.
You
And
said you did
so
talk about this some last
I
week, right?
did.
I
Yeah,
was gonna
I
say
did.
this is so familiar.
I
Yeah, okay.
did. And so, as the story goes on, you start to kind of like see how the two timelines are related to each other.
Mhm.
And there's some fun reveals. There's side characters who are like darling. There's a surprise that was surprising for the characters, but not so much for me because I had like a vibe while I was reading it, and I was like really hoping that I wasn't correct because
Mhm.
it was like kind of heartbreaking for one of the characters.
Aw.
And so there was that, and then there was like a other surprise that I did not see coming, which was very cool. And it was just, I really, really loved it. And I don't know how to properly like
How
express
do I
how much I
process
loved it.
this?
How do I process it? I loved it so much, and I like posted my review on Instagram, and Vanessa Montalban like read my review and saw my Instagram story, and I was
Aw.
like, now we're besties and we're just gonna cry with each other when like at Y'all
Yeah.
Fest because she's gonna be
When you
there.
do these awful things to me.
And I was like, she's like, we can just cry together. It's okay. And I'm like, okay.
Fine,
So
just
it was
fine.
really, really good. I really liked it. And then I also finished Season of Love by Helena Greer, which
Aw.
I did also
This
talk
is
about
the
last week.
lesbian Jewish Christmas tree farmer?
Yes. So
Yeah.
last week I said she was a Jewish lesbian. It turns out she's actually bisexual. So at the point that I
Okay.
had read up to, she it wasn't revealed, but she does have a preference for women. And so recap, Miriam, who is the Jewish bisexual, inherits a Christmas tree farm from her dearly beloved and recently deceased great aunt Cass, alongside her favorite cousin Hannah. And her and Hannah's childhood best friend slash the great love of Hannah's life slash Hannah's ex, Levi, and the butch lesbian farm manager, Noelle. And Noelle hates Miriam from like the get-go because she thinks that Miriam abandoned Hannah and Cass and the farm, Kerrigan's, like in their time of need. And as they are kind of forced to work together to save the farm, Noelle kind of finds out the story of why Miriam left and had
Yeah.
no contact with anybody, and realizes like, oh shit, I was kind of a bitch.
Yeah.
Like she had pretty good reason. And I loved it. It was very good. It definitely set up the second book, which is For Never and Always, which comes out in, I want to say November, and it's Hannah and Levi's story. And you know, like it's crazy because like Levi wasn't present in the book. Like the character physically was not there, but he felt like such a presence that I'm like,
Aw.
I already love him in a
Yeah.
way. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm really excited to see Hannah and Levi get their, happily ever after, because
Yeah.
it's a romance. They have to get a happily ever after or I'll cry. And one thing that I also really loved was, and this is like very specific to me, was that Helena wrote in like a obscure-ish Wizard of Oz like
Oh,
reference.
no.
And it made
Did
me
you
like,
know that going in?
I didn't know that going in.
Ah!
And so I like because I listened to it on audiobook, and when they were like it was got to that part, I was like I paused it and I was like, wait a minute.
Wait
that
a
was
second.
that was so cool. And I like mess it or I posted to Instagram and tagged Helena, and she's like, yes, we can be besties, because I wrote that specifically for my best friend who is a Wizard of Oz collector, and I was like, me too.
Oh my
Um,
God.
and I didn't realize this until like way later, but I read this book, like I finished reading this book on August 25th, which is the anniversary of the premiere of the movie, the Wizard of
So
Oz movie.
weird.
And I was like,
I
what
I
the
did
heck?
that with The Villa. When I read The Villa by, I think
Yeah.
it's Rachel Hawkins,
Uh-huh.
I finished it on the day that was like the bad thing happened in the book.
Oh my God. It's
Or
so
like it was a
weird how
very
things like that
yeah, it's
happen.
like,
So I was
woo.
like, weird. But yeah, so it was a really good. I really loved it. And I just love the juxtaposition of like Jewish people, Christmas tree farm, and like they
Yeah.
celebrate the Jewish holidays at their Christmas tree farm. Like
Yeah.
it's so cool, and I'm obsessed with it, and I loved it. Highly recommend.
I love people who do like a mashup. You
Yeah.
know, like we're
Hmm.
Jewish, but we got a Christmas tree because what do we care?
Right.
We're Jewish,
And
but Santa's coming.
you can and
Like,
you can celebrate both, like I know, and
yeah.
like in Judaism there are like religious aspects to it,
Oh
and like
yeah,
but you can still
100%.
do that and like do the other stuff if that's
There's
what you
nothing
want to do.
religious about a Christmas tree,
Right, exactly.
really. I
No
mean,
matter what
I'm sure
no
someone
matter
has
what
found.
people
Yeah.
say, like it's pretty like
At
non-denominational
this
at this
point, yeah,
point.
Christmas tree is
Yeah.
not a nominated. Just decorate your house if you want
Exactly.
around the holidays.
You could decorate the Christmas tree with Jewish memorabilia and have
Yeah.
that be like your, so it's
Yeah.
totally I love it. It was really
Yeah.
good. I really enjoyed it.
I'll have to read it.
The next book that I read was A Multitude of Dreams by Mara Rutherford. I love this freaking cover. It's so beautiful.
It is really pretty.
So it is a retelling or reimagining of Edgar Allan Poe's The Mask of the Red Death. So we have Serafina, who was taken from her home like a few years ago to go to the castle and act as the deceased youngest and favorite daughter of the king, because the king's slightly mad and has like a really bad temper, and if he had found out that his Princess Imogen had died, he probably would have lost his shit and taken it out on like everybody around. So his three elder daughters went and found Serafina and was like, she looks really close to her. We just have to like dye her hair and teach her
Yeah.
all this stuff. And she's now Princess Imogen. And she's been living as Imogen for, I want to say like 3 or 4 years at this point. And so she is boarded up inside the castle with the king and her sisters and like a shit ton of nobility, because there is a plague called the Mori Roja that has ravaged the country. And the king is like, well, if we just lock ourselves in here, it can't get in. Nobody in, nobody out. That's his thought. So they've been
Jeez.
locked in the castle for like 3 or 4 years.
Oh my gosh, so it's COVID.
Basically, yeah. And so they're like starting to run out of like food, obviously, and rations and
Yeah.
stuff, because it's been several years. And I think at one point they're like, there's like 500 nobility like scattered throughout the castle in addition to like them. So it's like how they
Not a
even
small
managed
number of people. Yeah.
how they even managed to last this long is like a miracle to everybody. Like, how did this happen? So there's that. And then we have Nico, who used to live a life of luxury before the plague hit, but now he is acting as like a servant of Lord Crane, who found him like on the side of the road, like near death, and like saved him, took him home and nursed him back to health. And now he just works in his household. And Nico's like super grateful for it, because like he would be dead otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a whole community of them. Like they all were like met with the plague, but like somehow have immunity to it. So they all live through it, and they all just live and work at Crane Manor. And so when Crane spots like a light in the tower of the castle, the boarded up castle, he realizes like there might be like other survivors. We should go seek them out, see if they need help or anything like that. And so Crane is like, Nico, you and these two other guys, two other servants, go and see if you can find survivors. But as the story goes on, Nico starts to realize like Crane might not actually have noble intentions towards Serafina and the people in the castle. And so when Nico and Serafina like finally meet, it takes a while for them because it's the two POVs, but it takes a while for them to like finally meet. They both are telling lies. Obviously, Serafina's pretending to be Imogen. Nico's pretending to be this like prince who has come to like marry Imogen.
Yeah.
And so they
And
are
he's
like,
full of shit.
yeah, they like have to navigate these lies in order to one, survive, and two, help the other people survive because Crane is not as great as Nico thought he was.
Whoops.
And there is a fantasy element to it. I don't know if it's a spoiler, so I'm not going to say, but I will say if you grew up around the same time as we did, you probably hit a certain type of story that took over the teenage like mind for a while. There were certain teams.
Team Edward and Team Jacob.
And so there's certain characters in this book that relate back to that.
Understood.
I'm to be
smelling
vague.
What you're stepping in.
So yeah, it was really good. I have not read Poe's Red Death, so I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know like how well or how similar or what she pulled from it. But she did so Serafina is actually Jewish. And so a lot of this story, not a lot of it, but Mara Rutherford really wanted to incorporate the Jewish community into the story, specifically because in, you know, like the old days when there were more plagues and things like that, the Jews were the ones who were scapegoated and were blamed for all of this happening. And so
all of history, even to now.
Yeah.
Stupid.
And so she really wanted that to be very like explicitly stated. She didn't want to have like some made up like religion that was like stood in place of Judaism. She wanted it very specifically to be like Jewish people.
Yeah.
And for me personally, after experiencing the pandemic and all of the scapegoating that happened with people that looked like me, like it hit hard, you know? It's like, oh, yikes.
It just makes you wonder like how people function with that level of ignorance. Like,
I really don't know.
How do you survive? How have you lived as long as you have being so ignorant?
It's
and
crazy.
Just so lost.
It's crazy. But you know what? It's happening. So
yeah,
it is what it is. But it was very good. I really, really loved it. It was the first book that I've read by Mara Rutherford, and I now understand why people love her so much. So I loved it. Highly recommend. The next book I read is My Roommate is a Vampire by Jenna Levine, which is a romance. It's got vampires, obviously. So it follows Cassie, who is an artist, and she hasn't really been able to hit the big time with her art, so she's been struggling with these part-time jobs, which is very evident when she gets an eviction notice on her apartment building.
Oopsie.
And she's like, well, shit.
Yeah,
and then
so
when she finds like this too good to be true apartment listing in Chicago on Craigslist, like it's way too good to be true. It's $200 a month. $200 a month.
Yeah, honey.
But she's just desperate enough to answer the ad.
And she's young.
She's I want to say like 20s probably. She's young. Yeah.
Yeah. You gain more common sense the older you get.
Yeah.
And then you start to lose it again.
The thing is, like, she realizes that it's too good to be true, but she's like so desperate. Like
that she moves in with a vampire.
She doesn't know he's a vampire. So when she meets her new roommate, he is as weird as she expected him to be for having like this apartment at $200 a month. And he's like, he sleeps all day, he's out all night, he talks like somebody out of a Regency romance novel. And then one day she finds some bags of blood hanging in the refrigerator. and it clicks.
After all this time, you can't learn a new dialect. You talk like a Regency era man.
So there's a reason.
Oh,
There's a
okay.
reason for it, which it is part of why he is asking for a roommate. And so when she finds out or figures out that he's a vampire, he's like, no, don't leave. Let me explain. I need your help. And so there's a whole like backstory to it. There's a whole reason why like he talks like he stepped out of a Regency romance novel.
Okay.
There's a reason why he has this gigantic lakeside view, floor to ceiling window apartment and needs a roommate, you know?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of moving parts to it.
With a
And so
Volturi after him.
not quite. But you know, so Cassie, she like listens and she's like, okay, you know what? You do seem like a nice guy. And also, he's extremely hot. So she's like, I'll help you as long as I can keep the blood out of common spaces and I never have to see you drinking it. And he's like, yep, I'll do whatever I have to do. And of course, it's a romance novel. So we know where it's going to go.
He wants to suck her blood.
And so it's not a third act break. There's no third act breakup, which I know like
I hate a third act breakup.
I
hate it.
I have a love-hate relation. There's some that are really well done, but there are some where it's just like I hate to have to live through it.
I hate to have to live through it. I'm like,
so this one has no third act breakup, but there is a point in time when they are separated for spoiler reasons. It was pretty good. I really liked it. I think I rated it 3.5 stars just because like something about it didn't quite click. It was fun, but like also like they're both idiots in a way that not the cute way. Yeah. And Cassie was like so just like go with the flow and like, girl, you're just gonna like go back in there?
Yeah.
What?
Really?
I don't know. And then the whole conflict that is not the third act breakup just felt weird.
It was just there to be there, to be a conflict.
It was there to be a conflict, and I feel like it had potential, but it was not executed exactly correctly, or not correctly, but like in a way that felt like it worked well for me. And it was resolved like way too easily and in like the dumbest way, I felt like. So yeah, that brought it down, but overall I mean like it was a cute little paranormal romance. It was fun, you know. Also, the other thing, and this is like a personal preference, but like it's a vampire book, I expect the spicy scenes to be spicier. Like I expect like spicy, steamy sex scenes.
Even Crave did that for like, it was YA still, but
yeah, it just it didn't hit the right notes, those scenes. So yeah, but it was good. It was fun. It was, you know, it's her debut, so like she's got room to grow. She starts at a good point and she's just got room to grow. So I think good. 2 more. I read House of Marion by J.L. Oh my god, I love this book. So it follows Kel, who has been on the run with her mom for years because she's got like this evil and destructive magic inside her that she can't control. And there are people who are hunting her because like they need to snuff out this magic. And when one of the hunters like gets a lead and is like right about to catch them, her and her mother have to separate. Her mother's going to distract them while she runs away to the safe house. She gets to the safe house and realizes that it's been destroyed, and so she goes to the only other place that she can think of that might be safe, which is Chateau Soleil, her estranged grandmother's house, which actually turns out to be more like a magical boarding school where they turn out debutantes but also train them on magic. They're magical debutantes. And so Kel decides that she's going to induct so that she can try to pass the 3 rites of this order that, and it will help her get rid of this like evil magic inside of her, and then her and her mom will finally be safe. And so she's like has to like navigate like keeping this evil magic a secret so that people, you know, don't try and come stab her or anything, while like fostering the good magic that still lives inside her under the watchful eye of her very brooding mentor Jordan. But things aren't quite quite what they seem at this school, and Kel has to make some choices that she didn't expect that she was going to have to make, because she thought she knew exactly going in what she needed and what she wanted to get out of this school, and that might not be exactly what she had planned. And I will say, if you grew up around the same time as we did and have a certain affinity for a magical boarding school written by a problematic author, this is a good replacement, I feel like.
Okay.
It does not quite have the same level of, I feel like the other one has a bit more adventure. This one is very like insular because most of it takes place at the school for now. It is the start of a series, so I expect there will be more adventure later. But it's a good start.
Is it the
And
same age range or
she's 17,
older
a
kids?
little bit
No, I meant like
older.
targeted reader.
Oh, it's YA.
Okay.
So I think the other one is
I would
maybe
consider it more
upper
middle
middle
grade.
grade. Yeah. I think it's
Yeah.
like
Okay.
upper middle grade. But yeah, this one's more a little bit older. It's YA, but it's really well done. I think it sets up a lot for the next book. I don't know how many books there are going to be, but like
Mhm.
it sets up nicely for whatever comes next. And there's this great twist at the end. Like it's a surprise that's revealed, like something's revealed, and I'm just like, holy shit, I did not see that coming. In like the last chapter, and I was like, oh my god, I can't wait for the next one. Like, but also, god damn it, more
Yep.
cliffhangers. But yeah, it's just like it's like the stakes are high because like her life's in danger, but also like she's also like a teenager who's like trying to figure out where to fit in kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I really, really liked it. I love the way that JL writes. So very excited to see what comes next. And
Very
finally,
cool.
I read Pride and Prejudice and Pittsburgh by Rachel Lippincott, who I love Rachel Lippincott. So obviously this is like Pride and Prejudice, retelling, reimagining, but better.
Where does it take place?
I will tell you. So
It's gonna surprise me. I just know.
Audrey is an artist and she's lost her spark after her first love dumps her and she gets waitlisted for her dream art school.
Aw.
But she refuses to put herself back out there because she doesn't want to be hurt again. Until Mr. Montgomery, who is like a regular at her family's Pittsburgh convenience store, is basically like, fuck that shit, girl. You need to put yourself back out there. You need to find your spark. You're good at this.
Yeah.
And he gives her this pep talk and is like really annoyed that she's like not putting herself back out there. And he like tosses her a coin because, you know, he got a coffee. And she's like all confused because he never pays for his coffee. But he like tosses her a coin. She catches it, goes to black, wakes up in 1812 London.
Oh shit.
On the estate.
Lucky.
On the estate of one Lucy Sinclair. Lucy she has also lost her spark since her mom died. Her mom was the one who taught her love is like the best thing. You're gonna fall in love one day. It's gonna be amazing. But her mom is gone now, and you know, her dad doesn't really care what she wants. All he wants is for her to marry the richest dude in town so
So you
that
get a dowry.
so
Or not a
that
dowry,
dad can, you know, make
Yeah.
more money. Of course, richest dude in town is also like twice her age. Gross,
Yeah.
but 1812 London.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not London, they're in the countryside, but 1812, you know, England area.
Yeah. Why can't that ever happen to me? I want a magical coin.
And so Lucy is like slightly annoyed at first that like this weird girl in these weird clothes with this weird accent is just like on her estate while her dad is away, and she was like, these are my last weeks of freedom, my last, you know, bits of freedom before dad comes back and I have to marry this old dude.
Yeah.
But then she realizes that Audrey's a pretty good distraction. Like she's gonna help Audrey get back to her time. Like this is something that she can do that'll be like, it'll be good for her. It'll bring her back to life kind of thing. Something that she's gonna enjoy. And so they decide that the reason that Audrey was sent back here was to find love again. And you know what? It's not that hard because apparently Audrey has many suitors. She's got like, she like goes to town with Lucy and like dudes are like looking at her, and she's got like 3 suitors, and like, and so Audrey and Lucy are like, okay, we can do this. And so as they're both trying to like make themselves feel like a spark for like Audrey with any one of these 3 suitors and Lucy with like the old dude that she's got to marry, like they're trying to be like resolve to this. They realize that sparks are just kind of flying between each other, and there's a lot of sapphic yearning, and there's
This breaks my heart.
it has a happy ending.
Okay, good. Because I'm
It
like,
has a
I'm
happy
already
ending.
crying. I'm thinking about
I
crying. I'm
know.
just devastated at how this must have to end.
And so it has a happy ending. I promise you, it has a
Okay,
happy
good.
ending. But they sparks fly, and Lucy is like, what the fuck? Like, I can't like girls. But she's
Yeah.
also like, earlier in the book, she's like, I've never really felt a spark for like any kind of man. Like, I've never felt attraction to a man. And she
Yeah.
like, it doesn't occur to her that she could be attracted to women until Audrey comes
It's
along.
the times, yeah.
And then Audrey has like she's like having a bisexual awakening. Like, she's had moments in her
Yeah.
past where she's like, did I have a crush on that girl, or did I just think she was pretty?
Yeah.
And so she's like, with Lucy, she's like, this is a terrible time for me to have a bisexual awakening. I'm in 1812 England.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but I promise it has a happy ending. I really loved how it ended. I will say that the whole time travel, time slip, like, explanation kind of thing didn't jive with me. Like, I felt like it could
Yeah.
have been more. Not that it
Yeah.
didn't work for the story, because it did. It just felt like there
Need a little
could have
something
been
extra.
more. There could have been something. There could have been more, like, I don't know, something to it. But you know what? It worked for the story. It got the job done, and the reveal of like how the time travel thing happened was like kind of funny and cute
Yeah.
too. So like it was fine. It was fine. I just like was like, I want more. But it was really good. I really liked it. And it's Rachel Lippincott, so I'll read anything she writes. But yeah, that was my week.
I was afraid it was going to end up being like an Outlander style, which this is a spoiler, but it isn't, because like so much more happens later that it's whatever. But like going back to your time and looking back to see if someone, like when someone you cared about died.
Oh.
Because you weren't there. Like,
right,
so
right.
like, is she going to come back to Pittsburgh and look up Lucy's obituary?
Right.
From like ancestry.com or something. So I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
No, I promise you it has a happy ending.
Okay, good.
And I wasn't sure how it was gonna get there. I was like really nervous that I was gonna be sobbing, but I promise it has a happy ending.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my week. I'm currently reading an arc of Top Story by Kelly Yang, which is the 5th book in the Front Desk series, and I'm almost done with it. I'll probably finish it tonight because it's middle grade and really quick to read.
Yeah.
It's really good. I really enjoy it, and I think it's leading to something that like she's been building up to for like the past 4 books. So I'm really excited to see if that's where it goes. I'm very excited. She posted like a video on Instagram of her daughter reading like near the end and like gasping out loud. So I'm like, I think it is. I'm hoping so much that it is what I think it is. So we'll see. So that was my week.
Do you have a fictional boyfriend of that week?
I do. It is Ethan from A Tall Dark Trouble. I loved him from the very moment he was introduced. So he is the twins' best friend, but he also, it's clear that he and Leela have started developing feelings for each other. And he is like one of the only people who knows their secret. And he just keeps getting better and better and better as the book goes on. And he's like so freaking devoted to them, and it's just like, and not just Leela, like to Delphi too, like he's so devoted to them and their mom and their family. Baby and it's angel. Just I love him. I can't. Sweet baby angel, adore him. So yes, Ethan is mine.
Love it.
And how about you?
Mine is Preston Hiruri from A Study in Drowning. He's a literature college student. Sign me up. Yeah. We love a man that loves to read and study literature. Like, come on. I'm not very far in, like I mentioned, but he seems very aloof so far. Like, he's just like, I can't even be bothered with you. So, like, I can't wait to learn that he's like gone for her already, or like he's a cinnamon roll or something. You know, like I can't wait to get to the point where it's like, oh yeah, he's head over heels. I hope.
Fingers crossed. Oh my God. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Yay. And that sound means we have an intruder
Intruder!
alert. Mandy has been freaking out all week.
I'm
I've been
dying.
freaking out all week.
I'm dying.
We have the honor of talking with #1 New York Times bestselling author Tracy Wolf. Welcome to the podcast. I know. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I have been excited all week about having the honor to speak with you guys. So we can just have a little mutual admiration society going on.
Before we dive into all things Starbringer, I have to say, I can't. Thank you for Hudson Vega, and thank you for making him sing Little Things. Like, that is, I can't believe I'm not still like a puddle on the floor after I read that. He made it to my like favorite book boyfriend shirt. He's right here.
Oh, I like it. Nice. Thank you.
Big fan. And now I will shut up about Crave, and we can talk Starbringer forever, but I had to tell you. Thank you.
I will tell you. I can talk Hudson Vega all day, so you don't ever
we
have
need
to
a new
and you never
we need an
have
episode
to.
of
we'll do a whole
Hudson
separate
talk.
episode. Yeah.
I could do a whole TED talk on Charm at this point. Like, that was it.
Oh, that makes me so
Love
happy.
it.
That is Charm is my favorite book in the series.
Mine too.
And,
yeah.
I'm so excited that you like it. Yay, that makes me happy.
She's been waiting to tell you this.
Yes.
Like ever since we first booked you, she was like, I get to tell her thank you. I get to
thank you for Hudson. I was gushing. My nieces live with me, and I was gushing to them about it and trying to like explain an entire series of a character in like 3 seconds as I'm running up the stairs, and they were like, "Okay,
Yay.
crazy. We'll just read it one day. It's fine."
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so the first question that we usually ask all of our authors, especially when we have a new book out, is can you give us like the elevator pitch of Starbringer and what it's about?
Sure. The elevator pitch for Starbringer is Breakfast Club meets Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a new adult romance, fantasy romance, sci-fi. Fantasy romance, I guess you should say. And it has 7 people from very disparate backgrounds who really, really don't like each other and have a lot of reason not to like each other, who, after a spacecraft that they're on explodes, end up on a tiny little ship going through space with, apparently they're also very unpopular people because everybody in the galaxy wants to kill, somebody in the galaxy wants to kill like each of them. So they've got like everybody in the galaxy on their butts. So that is pretty much the premise.
It is so
my
much
husband
fun.
was asking me about it, and I was like, I said Breakfast Club meets Guardians of the Galaxy, except if instead of Star-Lord, it was Killmonger, like saying like, "This is my ship, I'm the captain." Like, he gave me such Killmonger vibes when I love Killmonger. Like, he's not a villain, he's an anti-hero. And that's another TED talk I could do. So yeah, and he was like, "That sounds really good."
Yes.
Well, yay!
It was such a joy. It was so much fun to read. I could not put it down. And I have to say, I went into it. Mandy knows this. I went into
She had an episode.
I had like an episode. I went into it thinking it was a standalone. And so when it ended,
she was
dropped everything, threw things, screaming. I was like, what?
I got some rage text. She was like, how? And so I like went Googling everywhere. I'm like, somebody needs to tell me this is not a standalone. Someone has to explain.
And thank God I found that information, because I think I was about to expire on the spot. I was like, how? What?
How do you end it this way?
How could they just end it like this? This makes no sense.
Yeah.
Why would Tracy do this to me?
I think I scared my daughter. Like, she was like, what's wrong? I was like, I couldn't even answer her. I was like, what? It was so bad. So the moral of the story is, make sure you know what you're reading before you get into it.
Fair enough, right?
Oh my gosh.
So what gave you... Oh, go ahead, Karin.
That was my same question.
What gave you the idea for Starbringer? Like, where
I
did it come from?
actually had the idea like a long time ago, many years ago. I had just read or just watched Firefly for the first time and kind of fell in love with it and thought, oh my gosh, I would love to do a YA Firefly meets Breakfast Club kind of idea. And it was actually the idea that I had that I played around with and I never ever really spent much time on. It was just kind of like an afternoon, a couple afternoons ideas, planning. I just kind of like it petered out and it was very, very different than what Starbringer became. But the basic idea of Guardians of the Galaxy, or at that time Firefly meets Breakfast Club, was kind of what I wanted. And so anyway, gosh, I guess it was obviously it was over a year ago now. My editor at Entangled came to me. She was launching Red Tower, which is an amazing imprint, right? It launched Fourth Wing and then Starbringer and then Assistant to the Villain, which I see behind you right
Hey,
there.
we talked to Hannah last
Literally,
week.
as I said it, my eyes like went to it. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
Right there. So those are the first 3 books of the imprint, and
They've all been so good.
It's been a great start to this imprint. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Liz is
Big
brilliant.
fans. We're big fans.
Yay, I'm excited. So anyway, she came to me and she said, I'd really like to do a sci-fi for, my new fantasy imprint. And I know that sci-fi world building is maybe not your expertise. And it's not by any stretch of the imagination.
You couldn't tell at all.
Not at all.
And she said, but I have another writer, Nina, who is been writing sci-fi for years. Maybe you guys would like to team up. And I thought, well, yeah, I wouldn't. I've always, like I said, I've always kind of wanted to write a Breakfast Club in Space kind of book. And so we met via Zoom because she lives in Spain and kind of hit it off and did some brainstorming and came up with the world and had just a lot of fun writing it. It was we spent a lot of time at the beginning going back and forth with it, just trying to decide who the characters were and what we wanted it to be and all those things. And Liz, sprinkling her magic in. And yeah, I think we're all really happy with how it turned out and can't wait to we're in the middle of kind of working on brainstorming, plotting out, getting ready to dive into the second book, which does not have a title yet, but will sometime very soon.
I'm very excited.
That is so
for
cool.
book 2. That is very cool.
I
That was a long answer to your question.
We love them.
We're here to listen to you talk.
Yeah.
This is your show right now. So
yeah. That's what we're here for.
Yes. So you mentioned that your publisher, editor, Liz, connected you with Nina. Had you, at any point before that, had you met her? Had you worked with her at all? Or was this all a brand new collaboration?
It was a brand new collaboration. And she's lovely. She's so much fun. She's very sweet and very funny in person or, talking over Zoom. We've never actually met in person, but super, super lovely lady. And we had, like I said, we had a lot of fun, but no, it was brand new, which is strange to me because I've co-written before just because I'm one of those strange things, the extroverted writer, I love to work with people and I love, I love to, just, hang out with people and exchange ideas and do all the fun things. And I don't like being in my writer's cave. It's so funny. My friend will always say, we'll meet to write. And they're like, oh God, are we inviting Tracy? Because what that means is Tracy's going to come and want to talk to everybody. And then after Tracy spent 2 hours catching up on everybody's lives, then maybe we'll get like 2 hours of writing done as opposed to an entire, afternoon of writing. But so yeah, I'd always known my co-authors before, and so this was very different. I did a series, a YA series, and then I did one YA standalone, and then I did a duet. I guess it's a duology you would call it, with another author before. But Nina was great.
So
I hope she says the same about me.
I'm sure she would.
I'm sure.
You kind of touched on this, but I'm curious what your writing process is like and how it's different when you are co-writing with a partner.
My writing process is not a process I would recommend to anybody. I remember, in fact, it's so funny. We were at a I'm sorry, my words are failing me tonight. We were at, it's not a conference, but like a 2-day thing, where, we were speaking to a lot of students and this and that. And I remember I was on a panel with Mary Mancusi, who writes the Frozen books and has done a Dragon trilogy and a lot of other, and some vampire books and a bunch of other things. And anyway, a student had asked what my process was. And before I could even say anything, Mary shouts out, it's a terrible process. Nobody follow her process. It's very, very bad. It's not okay.
I'm scared.
I'm excited to
But
hear this, actually.
yeah, I'm also so
I'm
intrigued.
I want to know.
Yeah.
And she's not wrong. She's not wrong. My process is not great. I'm 70. Well, I'm just finished. Or I'm in the middle of edits of Sweet Vengeance, which is the follow up to the Crave series, and it comes out in January.
I
And so
cannot wait.
that's
I'm dying.
yay! I'm so excited. It's a lot of fun. It's dark. It's a lot darker, I think,
I'm
than
sure.
Crave. And
Yeah.
it is a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. But anyway, so 72 books in, I've tried to change my process and it does not work. This is just who I am. And so my process is basically I spend forever, and I mean forever, working on the first 3 to 8 chapters. And I say 3 because when they're long chapters, and 8 when they're like kind of the short chapters that I'm writing these days, because I just love them so much that way. And I just rewrite them and I rewrite them and I rewrite them. And I figured out several years ago that what I'm actually doing is figuring out the plot. Like in the old days, I
Right.
used to be like, I'm a pantser. It's just so
I don't
romantic.
understand a
I
pantser.
sit down and I just write, and the book
I
just
mean, a
flows
plotter.
from
I don't
my
understand a
brain. Yeah,
plotter. Sorry.
no, that is not true. That is not true. What I do is I start out with a general idea, and then I spend, sometimes it's a month, sometimes it's 3 months, on those first 3 to 8 chapters, which is only like 40 pages. Let's just be clear, right? Rewriting them and rewriting them and rewriting them. And what I figured out is that's when I figure out who my characters are. That's when I figure out what my plot is. That's when I figure out everything I want to have happen in the book. And then after I've done all that and made copious amounts of notes and figured out what the structure and all of that is, then the rest of the book comes very fast. And when I say it comes very fast, I mean, well, you said Charm. Let's say Charm. After I did that, the rest of Charm came in like 2 weeks. And it's
Karin, this man sings little
170,000
things,
words.
and then he says, "Did I do Harry justice?" And that just flowed out. Like that was well into the book. That was in like the
that was well into the book.
Just
that was well
past the triple editing. And, yeah.
Yeah. And so by the time I get to that, I'm like all hunched over and I can't move, and I'm like stiff when I get up and I need a massage because I'm literally falling over because I'm writing like 21, 22 hours a day and barely sleeping. And in the old days before the one that I will say, the one great thing about writing the Crave series in quarantine was I'm usually totally exhausted at the end of the book, and then I get sick. I get really, really run down and sick. Well, in quarantine, there were no germs.
Yeah.
So I actually was really exhausted, but I didn't end up like with
your brain was
pneumonia,
like,
I usually
gotcha.
ended up with, right?
Yeah.
So in the long term, like, yeah, I mean, it was kind of nice. But yeah, that's usually my process. It's like I literally like everything stops. My kids know, everybody knows, my fiance knows. Like life stops, and I just write like 20, 22 hours a day, stumble to bed. Like, I actually have, this is like, I've never been one to sleep with the TV on, for example, but my fiance had figured out, when I come to bed, I kind of exist in this fugue state for these like 2 weeks where like I don't really sleep very well because like I'm so into the book that like when I lay down, my brain is just still in like
You're
in the
still
world. It's
writing.
still in like, for example, in the Crave world or the Starbringer world or whatever. And yeah, so it's still going. So we found a TV show that I could like put on that would like silence the noise, and then I could sleep for like 2.5 hours or whatever it was. And
Yeah.
and the show is Struggle Meals. Because I like cooking shows. I love to cook.
Yeah.
And my fiance hates it because it's like he's like, Frankie is very excited and very loud and very everything is amazing. And she's like, I do not know how you can sleep like this. And I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
know. It puts me right out. Like I love it. Like, and I love, I love
yeah.
Headspace. It's not like he bores me, but like I don't know. I just like it gets into my head and it zones me out. And so now like, and she had to buy like a subscription. I think it was to, I don't even remember what thing it is now. But she had to buy a subscription just so that I could watch Frankie and zone out.
Oh,
I love that.
When they took him off Hulu or whatever.
Oh my
So
god.
yeah, that's my process. It's very
That's
unhealthy,
love.
but it is.
Was it different when you were writing with Nina, and how was that process if you guys were doing it all over Zoom? Like how
Well,
did that change?
like I said, we spent a long time going back and forth between the two of us, and then also sending pages to my editor, or our editor, I should say. I just like to claim her as mine. I was sending back and forth to our editor. And then once we had like really laid down what we wanted, who the characters were, where we wanted the book to go, where we wanted it to end up, what our big, milestones were, and all our points, I went on tour for 3 months. I went to Europe for 3.5 weeks, and then I went to the West Coast, and I went to the East Coast on the Bite Me tour. And Nina wrote the first draft. And when I got off the Bite Me tour, I came home and I was deathly ill. Through Christmas, we missed Christmas. I was so sick.
Oh
And
no.
oh yeah, well, I was just run down. I spent 3 months on the road traveling, and
Right.
what are you gonna do? And then was writing Cherish at the same time, because I couldn't do much writing on the road, so writing Cherish. And then at that point I got like the rough draft of Cherish down, and then I pivoted to the second draft of Starbringer. And I like wrote, we followed the same plot, but I like she's amazing at world building, but characters aren't necessarily her thing. And so she put all a lot of the world building in place that we had talked about, and she wrote that. And I basically wrote over all the relationships and characters and growth arcs and those kind of things that kind of went over the top of the plot and the
That's
basic.
cool.
So it was very different. I've never co-written like that before, but that is how we did it. And then we looked at the book again and went from there. But
do you have a favorite of one of these little miscreant misfits?
it's so funny. People say that, and it really depends on what day it is. I love Beckett. I love Beckett.
I like
Like, I
Beckett.
love an
Yeah.
anti-hero. I love an anti-hero.
Yeah.
So I love Beckett. I really like Ian. And then who, like, well, and I like Ray. I see, this is what happens. I like them all. I
Yeah.
did not start out that way. I did not start out that way, but I think by the time I'd finished the second draft and it like layered in what all the stuff, the fun, yummy characterization stuff, I was like, oh, I love them all, which I guess is the point, right?
Mhm.
But Merrick is one who really grew on
I
me. Like,
like
I never
Merrick.
expected to like Merrick. Like, he was just kind of like, but he really grew on me, and we have some really interesting plans for him in
Good,
book
because
two.
I think he might be my favorite. I have
Really?
this
That makes me
sickness.
happy.
I have this sickness, okay? And I can't remember how he was physically described, but his characteristics, it's Adam Driver. Like every character that's ever written like that is Adam Driver to me, and I'm sick for them. Like it doesn't matter if they're good, they're bad. I don't care. If you look like Adam Driver in my head, then I'm in love with you. And so I
I
loved
have a
Merrick.
very I have a very good friend who feels the exact same way about Adam Driver, actually.
I
Very
don't
good
want to be
friend.
well.
Yeah,
I'm sick and I don't want to get better.
she'd never written fan fiction in her life, but she started writing Kylo Ren fan fiction because she just had to.
Yeah. I mean, relatable. I never cared about
Speaking,
Star Wars
yeah.
until Adam Driver showed up, and then it was like, okay, I can get behind this.
Like, I can get behind this. Yeah.
Speaking of Mandy's incredible obsession with Adam Driver, we have a segment on the podcast
Oh,
which
yeah.
we call Fictional Boyfriend of the Week, where it doesn't necessarily have to be a boyfriend, but like we pick a character from fiction, either something we've read or watched, and they're a person for that week.
Mine
So
has been Hudson in the past.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh,
Like I've
yay!
gushed and
I-
gushed and
Makes me
gushed.
happy.
Yeah. I had a fictional granny at one point.
Mhm.
Like she was my granny. So just a fictional character. Is there any fictional character that you claim like this is my favorite?
And it doesn't have
And
to
it
be one
doesn't
that
have to
you've
be
written. It could be one that you've read or watched on TV or whatever, or it could
anything
be
like
one
that.
you've written.
And this is the moment where everything you have
Yeah.
ever consumed leaves your brain.
And you're
Yeah,
like,
of
what
course.
are books? What's a
Well, like
movie?
several have come back, and I have to just pick one. I have to just
No.
pick one.
No,
I've
no,
got
no.
a whole shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
Lists.
Let's
We love
say Zadist from the Black Dagger Brotherhood.
Oh,
J.R.
I've got to
Ward,
get
have
to
you
that.
read her?
I've got to get to it.
Okay, Zadist is book 3, and yeah, there is something about a very, very broken anti-hero that is catnip to me, and obviously. Um, I like to write them too. But Zadist is very broken and just very dark and in a very dark place when he meets I believe it's Bella. That doesn't sound right though, but I feel like it is. Anyway, you can tell it's all about Zadist for me. Um So he's probably my number one. Another one is and that's by J.R. Ward. Another one is by Nalini Singh, and his name is Judd, and he's in a book called Caressed by Ice. He's part of her Side Changeling series, and he is another one that is just I've read the book till it like fell apart, Like it's my comfort read. I will read it
Right.
over and over and over again when I'm sad, when I'm looking for something to read and I just can't really find whatever it is. That's always the book that I go to. So those are two off the top of my head.
This kind of comes into that same vein, but I had to ask you because there were several references in Crave, not in Starbringer, but this is relevant to this podcast in the world. Who's your favorite member of One Direction?
Oh, honey, no. Oh my gosh. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna tell you something. I don't even know if I've ever said this publicly. Maybe I've said it once publicly. I wrote a One Direction fanfic. I have an encyclopedic knowledge of One Direction. And I was obsessed for many years, like obsessed. But I've always been a Harry girl. I've always been a Harry girl. I'm a Harry and Lewis girl, a Larry Stylinson girl.
I was gonna ask you if you're Larry.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Every time you see a video of them, it's like Larry's a thing.
Oh, so far down the rabbit hole. Like I could if somebody gets me started, I could start just rattling off every single moment in the entire 5 years, they were together.
Yeah.
And I'm also I really like Niall as well. Niall's another,
he's such a sweet baby
Niall
angel.
is he's amazing. Did you see that one thing he did? I think it was for Vogue, right? Where he's giving his face care routine. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Awesome. And I love he never takes himself too seriously.
Yeah, he's such a little doll. I just want to have him be my best friend. I just want to carry him with me all the time. And then Harry, I'll never forgive myself that when Love on Tour was in America, it was still kind of in COVID and I was scared to go to a stadium still. And now it's over and I'm like, why? In hindsight, I have it probably would have been fine.
Oh yeah, the first time, the one that was September, what was it, 2021?
Yeah.
Right? We had tickets and we didn't go because my mother had COPD and she lives with me, and I was so afraid of bringing something home. So actually then my fiance has amazing ticket foo, so she can always get the most amazing tickets. So she got tickets for us when he came back around to Austin and set up in Austin because that's where I live. And then it was the date that she got, it turns out, ended up being in the middle of my European tour. And so I was like, oh my God, I'm not gonna go. I was devastated. I was devastated. And then he added 3 dates, and she was I don't know how she happened to be online at the time, got the tickets within 10 minutes of them being announced, and we got to go the day before I left for Europe. I was like, oh my gosh, it was amazing. But
I'm just I need another tour so I can go because I
it was great.
Everyone, I'm gonna have to come to you because everyone I know here, you can't go see Harry Styles with me. I will embarrass you. My husband cannot see me around Harry Styles. My nieces would be I can't be seen. My 4-year-old niece, she was like, Mimi,
I've got you.
If you go see, she says tomorrow for everything. She's 4. She doesn't know. Mimi, if you go see Harry Styles tomorrow, can I go with you? And I was like, you're probably the only person that I would not completely. Yes. I would not.
Oh, I've got you. Next time he comes to Austin, you need to come down and we will go together. Because when it comes to here, I am unembarrassable. There's yeah.
That's what I need. That is what I need. I just got one of those retro band t-shirts that's just a bunch of his face.
Yeah.
I wish it's really too bad that you're not wearing your Christmas gift from your husband.
My husband got me a long sleeve shirt that is just Harry's tattoos where they are on his body.
Nice. Very cool.
It's
very
so
cool.
Amazing.
I knew I had to ask your favorite Direction member.
I could go on. Yeah, I have a blanket in every room of my house because even my children, even my teenage boys get me Harry Styles and One Direction presents.
That's amazing. I love that.
But I have a different Harry blanket in every room of the house because I have so many. I have the song. I have a lot of 1D merch. I'm not gonna lie.
That's amazing. You're in good company. You're in good company. For sure.
So Grace's obsession was totally my obsession. Absolutely.
Yes. I was hoping. I was slightly scared that you were going to be like, I just Googled.
Absolutely
So I'm
not.
so glad that you are a
Absolutely not.
directioner. Yeah.
Like, it's like taking everything in me because, like, that's not what this entire podcast is about. But, like, not to be like, let's talk about what's your favorite hairy tattoo and do you know what they mean and blah 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 blah. And did you notice the eyebrows on the birds? Yeah, no, it's like taking me a lot. So I'm gonna bring myself back and
I
talk about
love
like
this. Mandy is in
Wait.
heaven right now.
Wait, the back of my Kindle. No, it's my other Kindle. I have another Kindle that has the moth on it. Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know. It's my favorite. It's just there. I just have it.
Nice. Nice.
Sorry, Karen.
That's okay.
Karen's
I'm
having to
enjoying
live with my obsession. I went on a Harry rant last week about getting the Apple VR just so you could experience what it's like for Harry to yell at you.
To be fair,
Reasonable expenditure of money.
Well, I'll pretend to be. I'll pretend to be the serious one in this conversation. I'm loving this. Honestly, I'm loving this. But I do want to know. We know we love your books, and
Yes.
we know, it's a good time. But is there anything that you're reading now, or do you have like a favorite book ever, something that you just want to throw out a recommendation?
You want everybody to read. Everybody
Yeah.
should read this.
Everybody needs to read this before they die.
I will tell you that I am an insane, like completely gaga over Nalini Singh. Like, I'm a huge Nalini Singh fangirl. I just think she is absolutely brilliant. And I've met her several times at different conferences, and I remember the first time I was invited to have breakfast with her, I was like, oh,
What? How am I supposed to eat?
and she's just like, treating me like I'm just like, like I'm a peer. And I'm like, but you're Nalini Singh. Yeah, and so she actually, and I'm a massive fan, obviously, like I said earlier, of her Side Changeling series, which is her wolf shifters and cat shifters, and this psychic race that she calls the Psy. Love them, love them, love them. But she ventured into romantic suspense and thrillers and wrote this book called A Madness of Sunshine, set on the New Zealand coast. And I love it so much. Like, I think she did such a beautiful job with it. I really, really like it.
What's it called? I need to make a note really quick.
A Madness of Sunshine. And that's a really,
Okay.
that's a nice anti-hero too.
I love
All right,
that
I've written it
title.
down. Yeah, that's a really excellent title.
It is. Isn't that a great
That hooks
title?
you in. Yeah, it's
Great
like I want to
title.
read it by the title
Madness of
alone.
Sunshine.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Oh my God. I'm not. Okay, listen, I just went to Goodreads to look it up. It's already want to read on my list.
See?
Apparently, I was already prepared for this episode.
Yeah,
Like,
see,
I
look
want-
at you.
Look at me.
You were ahead of time before you knew you were ahead of time.
I guess so. Who knew? I'm never prepared for anything, so that's shocking.
You're
I don't
on
believe that.
brand.
I don't believe that.
She's the organized one of us for sure.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. There's chaos in there. When you're a writer, there's always chaos somewhere,
Yeah.
So,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah. Sometimes there's organization.
You just have spreadsheets for your chaos.
It's true. It's organized chaos is what it is. I have to schedule my mental breakdowns into the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, right. You're only allowed I don't know if are you a mom, did you say?
Yeah.
She is,
Yeah, like there's you only get so much time for that when
That's
you're a mom
true.
and you have a
That's
job
true.
and then you're like, oh well, I need to have a breakdown, but I've got exactly 7 minutes to do it in.
Yeah.
And then I have to pick myself up and go make dinner and take care of the sick dog and help with homework. And oh yeah, get back to work. That's right.
Oh, they have a game
so
tonight. There's some sporting event tonight.
So
we have to get to.
So
good.
Absolutely. Sporting event. I had one football player and rugby player, and then I had a drama kid and then an art kid. And so yeah, it's always something.
It's always something.
Gosh.
Oh my gosh. We were very on brand and we're supposed to talk about Starbringer and we got so distracted. But it's very much like who we are as people. This was a super fun conversation.
My face hurts.
We're definitely gonna have to have you come back. And speaking of which, this is the part of the interview where Mandy is
I don't pretend.
She's not
I'm
going to
not
pretend.
sorry.
I'm going to pretend that I'm sorry, even though I'm really not. But I regret to inform you that now that you have joined us for a book release, you are legally obligated to come back for every other book release after this.
I have had an amazing time, and I do not have kitten ears, but I think you might actually be able to see it behind me. I have a Medusa headband that I will wear next time, and we can
I have one
a
too.
matching headbands. Do you?
I love
Yeah.
that. That's
Nice.
amazing.
Yeah, because if you think that you're gonna write a Crave spinoff and not have me harass you about talking about it,
Yeah.
I
And
mean, I don't
after
know.
that Starbringer ending gave me such trauma, like you have to come back.
Right? I
We
am
will.
looking forward to it.
Thank you
I'm definitely looking
so
forward to it.
so much for coming and
You
talking
don't
to us. This was
understand. Like this has been thrilling.
so much
For
fun.
real. It's been cathartic and awesome, and
It's
we
been-
appreciate you so
we
much.
love it so much. Everybody go pick up a copy of Starbringer. It's chonky. She's chonky.
She's
And
chunky.
She's amazing.
In the
and we
best
love her.
way.
The best. Like it flies by. It's so good.
Yeah.
Go pick it up. It is in stores now. Starbringer,
Mhm.
Tracy Wolf and Nina Croft. Everybody needs to go read this so that I can yell about it with other people, please.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tracy, for being here. We had a blast.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and I would love to come back and talk about the books, but talk about One Direction, or if
We need to have a
if
One
if you
Direction
need somebody to
episode.
talk about it, like I am always ready.
Yes.
I am always
love
ready.
this so much. I'm so excited.
Oh my god, we can't wait to talk to you soon. Have a great night.
And please
You
kiss
too,
your
take
dogs
care,
for
guys.
me.
Oh yes, definitely. Kiss the dogs.
I absolutely will. I absolutely will.
We'll talk to you soon.
Bye, everybody. Take care.
Bye. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I am freaking giddy. I'm giddy right now.
You just fangirled out with the creator of Hudson Vega.
I need you to read Crave right now. You don't understand. Because like in the first book, I was like, ugh, because some have and I don't know if you're friends with it's like Snow White and 7 More Chapters. Everybody go follow her. She's great. She's a book talker and a bookstagrammer. But I text her because I DM'd her because I see Crave and all of that on her social media all the time. And I was like, hey, I feel like we're friends-in-law through our friend Amber, Amber D. Lewis. I was like, and I'm about to start Crave and I'm just gonna scream at you. I hope that's okay. And she was like, are you kidding? This is like everything that I've ever wanted is for somebody to just talk about Crave with. And she told me like Hudson is bae, and I was like, okay. And he appreciates Harry Styles. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, you give me a man that appreciates Harry Styles.
Yep. And you just fangirled out with the creator.
I fangirled out with her.
Hudson Vega about Harry Styles.
Oh my god.
That's
so crazy. And now we just have to do a freaking spiel and end the night like that.
Yep, that's it.
Do we have any announcements this week?
We do. We have one announcement. And Mandy is like, what are you talking about? Our announcement is that next week we're talking to Karin Randall.
I cannot wait for this.
She is the debut author of The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic, which is pitched as Gilmore Girls X Practical Magic.
I've read it. It tracks. Yeah. And I think did I talk about it on the podcast or did I tell you about it?
You just told me about it and you wrote about it.
Okay.
Because I think
it's on a it's on a blog. It's on the blog.
Yeah. It's on the blog. It's on the blog. So we're gonna talk to her next week, and I'm very excited.
And we're in the Burr months to do it. Like we'll be in fall.
Yes.
I'm gonna have some apple cider with me when we talk to her. Do you want to do a spiel?
Yeah, let's do that. We don't have any other announcements.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this episode, please like, follow, and subscribe wherever you are listening to us. Please also follow us on social media. We are at The Incoherent Fangirl on all things. I cannot express how excited I am to be able to say that now. It's very exciting. Please also visit our website, theincoherentfangirl.com, where you can also stream all of our episodes as well as read the aforementioned blog, which has so many reviews. I literally just posted 2 today. There's so many.
The last few times I've posted them, it's been 2 at once.
Yeah. You can also subscribe to our Patreon. Go to theincoherentfangirl.com/Patreon. You'll receive early access, and depending on what tier you sign up for, you can also get video episodes. And we're working on getting some like exclusive deals up on Patreon. We're having some slight technical difficulties,
Yeah.
but we're working on it.
We
So
could do like a Patreon only like merch design if we can't figure out the discounts.
yeah, we'll
That would
figure
be cool.
something out.
We'll something cool is gonna come
Something
for
cool is
Patreon.
gonna, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But speaking of merch, you can buy ours. We have that, and it's all very much amazing. Go to the incoherentfangirl.com/shop to do some shopping.
Yay.
They're all very, very cute.
My nieces got their sweatshirts in today and they were
Oh my
thrilled. They're gonna
God.
wear them to high school.
Oh my God. I can't
Yeah.
even. It's surreal. Like, I know there are babies and like their family, but it's also like
Yeah.
really surreal that somebody not us has
Yeah.
our merch.
Yeah.
So it's very
Josh's will
cool.
be here Tuesday too. He got a fictional boyfriend shirt he's gonna wear.
I love it.
Yeah.
And then if you have any comments, questions, concerns, suggestions, design ideas, you just want to tell us we're pretty. My hair looks really good today. I don't
It
know.
really does.
I don't know what's going on with it, but I'm loving it.
Yeah.
You can send us an email at theincoherentfangirl@gmail.com. We love hearing from y'all.
Yes.
And finally, if you would like to support the podcast in a different way, you can rate and review on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Send us your words. We love
Yes, we'd love
words.
to read. Even your
Love to
especially
read.
your words.
Exactly. So please do that. We would really appreciate it.
Yes.
And she is at Mandy Perv on all the things.
She's at Miss Made in China on all the things.
And once you have visited us on social media and the podcast on social media, you can head on over and visit our internet besties. We love
Yay.
them so much.
They're all right.
First stop, you're going to go to herecomesthenerd.com. Use code FANGIRL for 20% off your first order.
Then, once you've got all your art and your pins, you can go to onceuponabookclub.com and we've got 2 codes for you. Now, you can't stack them, but you can just pick one. We don't care. We love that you're supporting us either way. Either use code Karin10 or Mandy10. Just make sure you spell Karin right. Karin. And you'll get 10% off.
And then once you've got your artsy goods and your bookish goods, you're going to need some cozy goods like tea. Head over to entrancingelixirs.com. Use code FANGIRLT to get 10% off your order. But remember, unlike Karin, there is no I in fangirl. It's FANGRLTEA.
Then, of course, we need you to shop with Amber D. Lewis. She's one of our favorite authors. She is wrapping up the Fire and Starlight saga. She's got swag boxes. I think she still has some in stock. So go use code FANGIRL10 for 10% off your purchase and read the Fire and Starlight saga right now.
You won't
pause
regret
this. Pause this right now. Go order those books.
And then come back and you can go support the show husband.
Yes, we're kind of fond of him here.
Even when there is Mandy slander.
Even when he slanders me. I think it's the episode that like it's coming out tomorrow, but I will report back. He says that every morning I say bye stupid to him, which I do not. I say, have a good day. Love you. Don't forget your lunch. And what does he do half the days? Forgets his lunch. Anyways, I digress. You want to head both to searchersbelieve.com or go find The Paranormal Mind on anywhere you get your podcasts, just like with us. And you also want to go to youtube.com/@searchersbelieve. And if you go shopping at searchersbelieve.com, use code fangirl10 and you'll get 10% off. And I mean, I think their merch is pretty cool because yours truly designed most of it.
Just
most
like with our merch.
Yeah. I love a t-shirt. Okay. I like making a cool t-shirt. So
yes, for sure.
Yeah.
And please remember that we will lie for you. We even have a tote that tells you that.
I need to order that tote. Even though it would be weird for me to carry it, but
the most brilliant thing. The moment that when you first sent that to me, I died.
So it's a canvas tote that says something along the lines of, this bag is full of gifts that I won from the Incoherent Fangirl podcast because they will lie for me.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
And we will lie for you. Just let us know if there's somebody policing your shopping. Just let us know ahead of time. And if they need to reach out and get proof, we'll give it to them.
That Amazon box came from us. You won a giveaway. We took the
Exactly.
post down because we didn't want people to be confused and still trying to win, but you won it. Congratulations, baby. You
Yep.
did it.
So
Good job.
we're here for you. We're here for you.
And
And that
that was
was the
the
Incoherent
I can't believe
Girl.
we tried to.
Oh my God. What is life? What is life?
We love you.
Thanks for listening. We love you. Bye.
We are sponsored by our friends at Here Comes the Nerd. Pins, stickers, magnets, and more. Here Comes the Nerd has happy art for all fandom-loving hearts. New customers can use coupon code FANGIRL during checkout for 20% off their first order at herecomesthenerd.com. Coupon applies to ready-to-ship items only.